All right, I also got a quick question about my SCA gear, particularly the sword construction and gauntlets, so I thought I'd touch on that while my camera is out. So I have one mostly used up sword and then one sword that's in construction. So I just take a normal 1.25" diameter stick. I try to find the minimal sticks that I can, and I have a draw knife and I just carve the handle down to kind of a soft almond shape. I keep the 1.25" width, and then I just make it about an inch, maybe a little bit less, so that I have good feel and edge control, but not so thin that the stick will snap when I'm hitting people. Other than that, I just put a normal thrusty tip on. In terms of the sword furniture, the aluminum quillions look great, but they're so heavy compared to the rattan that I find that they made my SCA swords move less like my real swords. So I'm using 7/8 ID washing machine hose, the black rubber hose, which gives me an 1.25" outside diameter. And it's pretty stiff. Like I've never had one fail on me or move. They don't break. They also, for a 10-inch section costs about 30 cents. So I just drill 2 holes and then make a slit between the 2 holes on either side, and then shove it on there and put it on there with strapping tape. And then I use a little bit of electrical tape to kind of smooth out the lines. But it's cheap, it's easy, and it actually lets my swords move better than with the fancy aluminum hilts. Usually I have an aluminum pommel. I do like those. This one, the lag bolt ripped out, and so I did a quick fix with tape. And then the handle is just black athletic tape that I put on there. So it's nothing fancy, but it allows the swords to move pretty well. My rattan swords are built right on my fetters, so they're 54 inches total length, about a 14-inch handle hilt section. In terms of the gauntlets, I am using Whizbee finger gauntlets. So these have short cuffs, they're brig cuffs, and these are not grounding in the fingers. Usually I find that the grounding fingers add so much bulk and spread your fingers that the weapon control is not very good, and I found that occasionally I was getting guillotined by the grounding pieces if the finger shifted a little bit. So these are normal fingers with 1/4" neoprene padding. I have that in the metacarpal as well. I do have enclosed thumb tips because I found that to be helpful, and I have what I call a butterfly plate on the base of the thumb, so the butterfly plate will ground if it gets hard enough, and then a slightly enclosed thumb tip. And then just to make sure, I have finger bucklers, beziques. These are, I believe, 6 inches across, and that just helps me if I get hit in the fingers. It puts the impact across, so almost never do I get hit on just an individual finger. So that's incredibly helpful. I have, in almost 10 years of fighting in these multiple times a week and in tournaments and in war, I've never been hurt in these when I've had the finger bucklers on. A couple of times I've been lazy and not put the finger bucklers on, and then I've taken some individual stingers on the fingers. So, but with the buckler, I have found this to be really well. Work really well. The nice thing is that the weapon feel is excellent. There's not really much in the way of bulk. And with the soft cuff, it allows me, when I cross, that the insides of my wrist can touch. It's really important that you can get kind of a sabery grip. A lot of gauntlets, they force a hammer grip where you have a very rigid thumb on top. And if you can't shift that into more of a saber grip, you do lose some of the dexterity, which is a problem. Or some of them that have the big cuffs, it's really hard to cross over, and you want to be able to hit to both sides equally. So that is why I have gone with these. I have used some mittens in the past that were pretty decent. I'm a big fan of the flexible cuff. I found that to be huge, especially when I'm trying to cross over. That flexible cuff makes a huge difference, so I would really recommend that. So that's kind of what I'm using for sword and gauntlet setup in SCA Heavy. It's a minimal stick with the hose quillions, usually an aluminum pommel, and the Whizbee finger gauntlets with the beziques on them, and the soft cuff I think even on mittens would be really helpful to allow you to do all the motion and crossing that you need to do without a problem. Hopefully that was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.